This is my set here. So mine's come in just like these without the packaging. So I've got my stamps as well as the dies. So I think what we could do is let's just go, you know, good old Christmas time. Let's just start with Santa. So we've got Merry Christmas, we've got that decorative edge, and then we've got Santa himself. So I've got, this is what I mean by I didn't have anything planned as such. I've just got a lot of cardstock. I've got my guillotine at the side, and then all that I'm going to do is just have a wee play. So I am going to, I thought about going for the green there, but I won't. We'll keep Santa red. So let's bring it in. So this is just our luxury cardstock. So we'll bring in a selection of that one. And then I think what I'll even do is I'm just going to bring in some of our Centura Pearl. We'll stick along the red and the white look with Santa being red and white. Bring these parts in. Let's just have a good old play together. Let's kickstart with some glitter card. So let's bring in our guillotine. Let's bring all these parts here. So I don't need these stamps at the moment because I just need Santa, which I've just moved. There he is. So what we can do is let's just keep this to, let's just say about 7 by 7. Actually no, let's do 6.5 because there's a reason as to why I'm going to do that. Let's do 6.5 with that one. And then I'm going to do 6 1/4. So this is how I'm doing my matting and layering. You may have heard me briefly talk about it earlier on today on Facebook with Leanne, and this is how I do it. So that first layer, if you have missed any of my past Facebook lives, this one here is 6.5 inches. So I use my guillotine when I do my matting and layering. 6.5 inches. Then this next one I'm going to bring down to 6 1/4 inches. That's then going to give me that perfect matting layer like that. So if I bring that in just a bit closer for you to see, then that gives me a matting, and that's a question I get asked quite a lot as to how do you do your matting and layering. So there we go. I like to just go over that each time. Then what I'm going to do, I'm still going to stick with the, do you know what, I'm going to change that slightly. So we've done the glitter card and then we've done the Centura Pearl. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the matte, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that Centura Pearl white layer. So that was 6 1/4. So this one I'm also going to do 6 1/4. So line that up and cut. So I want to show as well how well red matte and red glitter works together. So there we go. We're starting to get that effect, but I know you can't quite see it as well, but there you go. Glitter against the matte. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our white Centura Pearl with a hint of silver, and we're going to bring that down another 1/4 inch. So that's coming down to 6 inches. That's going to give us another layer. So if I can kind of layer these up for the time being, just so you can show you. So the glitter was 6.5 inches, the matte was 6 1/4, and then the Centura Pearl was 6 inches. So that's how I get my matting and layering. So that's that one there. So let's move these ones out the side for the moment, and let's do a bit of die cutting with the actual dies. Move that out the way. Let's move that one out the way, bring that to the side. So let's take the main one. So I think what we could do is if we do, let's have a look. So we've got this one here. So we're either going to go with the matte or we're going to go with the glitter card. So I think what we'll do is for this one, let's go for the matte. And it might, let's just see, it will it just fit the Gemini Junior. So what I'm going to do, so that we're not wasting some cardstock, let's pop that on there, and I'm going to pop this in the center. Bring in our plate, so plastic shim, magnetic shim, and then our top plate, and then we're going to run this through. So this is a bit similar to gutting your cardstock. And what we just mean by that is we're actually, because this top layer of the Centura Pearl, that's going to be covering most of that matte layer. So you don't mind taking a wee bit out the middle because you're not going to see it. And it just saves on wasting any extra cardstock. So let's take these ones out the way. So there is the die cut. So you can see, let's bring that in. So there you go. So I just need to pop out these wee bits. So there you go. So that's die cut. Then this is where I said that you kind of get an extra die because that comes out the center. This one here. So you can be using that elsewhere. So there you go. So that's a wee bit of an additional one that comes out the middle. Let's pop this back onto our layer. And then if we bring our Centura Pearl, can you see what I mean now? See, there we go. We've covered that middle bit. Now, we've not wasted that. We've used that, and you're not going to see it. So that can now sit there. So let's just pop these wee bits out, like this one here. So let's do that. But what I'm also going to do, let's bring in the glitter again. You know me by now. I love my matting and layering. So I'm going to bring this in. So we are going to put another bit of white underneath, so it does look a bit neater. So I'm just having a look. Let's do, actually, I quite like that length. So that is, let's have a look on the guillotine. Bring this in. So I like to keep all mine to certain measurements, you know, by 1/4 of the inches. So this is, for instance, this is just over 5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down to 5 inches. So there's 5 inches, and then by 5. So we'll pop that on there. And then what we want is another bit of white. So because that one was 5 by 5, this next one is then going to be 4 3/4. So we're just coming down increments of 1/4 of an inch. That's what's creating the mats and layers. So there's that one there. Then if I bring that one on top there, and then bring this one here, so you can start to see, you're starting to build, you're starting to get that layer. And this is where, this layer here, if you've got any of your papers from your Poinsettia Perfection collection, anything like that, you could be using them if you want, but you don't have to. So we're going to keep it like that. I'm liking how that looks. Okay, doke, let's move these ones out the way. Then what we can do is, let's take this center one. So we've got this one here. So again, let's stick with the mat. So because this Merry Christmas has been cut in matte, what we can do is do the middle part in matte as well, or will we do glitter? Let's do glitter. So we'll pop it in the glitters like that. So let's just pop that through, and we're going to run these through like this. So that's going to go through. So these are going to go through your big Gemini, they're going to go through your Gemini Junior. If you have got any other die cutting machines from any company out there, as long as you take the wafer thin die, they will go through no problem. Your smaller dies, such as the wee icons or the wee like silhouettes, they will go through your tiny die cutting machines. But of course, these ones here won't necessarily, just with the size of them, go through on all those really tiny ones. But doesn't mean to say you can't use your smaller ones if you do have smaller machines. So there we go. So there's that ridged edge that we've got on that one there. So again, let's bring this one back in. So we're starting to build that up. So there is a reason as to why we've got this small layer in the middle and we've got a larger layer on the outside, and that'll become clear just shortly. So we're starting to get that building up now. So let's move that out the side. Now what we're wanting to do, so we've got the Centura Pearl. Now you can do your stamping onto it. I just like to stamp on our smooth cardstock. So let's bring a sheet of that in. So let's just see if I got my scissors to hand. No, I don't. So let's bring the guillotine in. And we are just, all that I'm just going to do is, I just need a wee bit, because I'm just going to stamp this Santa Claus's head. Bring these in, let's move all that out the way, like that. So we've got Santa's head just here. Then we have got, what we're going to do is, if you stay looking down, we're okay. I was away to say I'm away to go and get a quick dry ink pad, but they're actually at the side of me, so we're fine. So I'm just going to look for, I'm going to get a black one for this one. You could be having any colour you want, but I just like to have the black silhouette. We've got actually smoked emerald. That might look quite good as well, but stick to what I know best and what I like best, and that's going to be the black. So let's bring that in. So we're going to use the jet black for this one here. But it just goes to show you can be using any colours that you wish. So quick dry ink pad, you can use the water reactive one if you want to do any blending with your either your paint brushes or your water brushes, anything like that. So all we're going to do is just stamp Santa's head like that. Now look at that. Now that's really quite smart on its own. You can just do a wee line of them, anything like that. You could be doing, so let's bring these in like that. What actually I do want to say as well, just bringing it back just slightly, these, like the Santa's head, and as well as these ones here that you've got in the centre. So if I turn that round so you can see, these ones here, don't forget, because they're a fuller line, you can be die cutting any of your fabrics or anything like that. So if you want to do patches or that, you can be doing that. Of course, anything like this is just a wee bit too intricate to go through materials and that. So it just goes to show these ones here, you can, if you're doing, I don't know, Christmas cushions or anything like that, you may want to add them on. Entirely up to yourself. Right, so all that we're going to do now, let's bring in our plate, and we are also going to look for a bit of tape, and we're going to place that on. So as you're looking down, I'm just going to stretch over and get just a bit of tape. Do you know something? We had so much fun this afternoon, but I'm going to be honest, Leanne stole everything, and also she's just made it an absolute bomb site. You know me, I always craft neat and tidy. Everything's in its place. Yeah, so it was fun and games. We had an absolute laugh, but yeah, it was a bit of a tight turnaround going from finishing that one to doing this one here, but it's been absolutely worth it. There we go. And if anything, actually, I kind of like the fact that we get to do this. You know, I do like to have stuff planned, so I know what I'm going to do, I know what I'm going to show you. I know all of us on the team like that, but sometimes it's nice just to, it's a Monday night, just have a wee play together, show you what's coming up, and just see what we can create. What I will do is anyone that does comment or that, make sure that you comment on Facebook. Any questions, you just want to say hi, I will choose a winner at the end and we'll send out what I make. So all that I'd done there was I just popped the die over the top of Santa's head, and let's bring in a bit of cardstock just so you can see that a bit clearer. There we go, we've got that outline, so if we pop that in and let's just move that a bit closer for you to see. There we go, we'll go that way. So there you go, you can see now. Now, of course, if you like to do your fussy cutting like I do, you can cut it out by hand if you want, but you've got that die to do it for you. Okay, a lot of you I can see just popping up saying that you've seen Facebook Live earlier on and you loved it, so I appreciate it. There we go. What I will say is if you haven't shared it, do go on and share it, because I know many would love to see it too. So I've just got, I was away to say I'm popping these bits out. I don't know why I'm doing that, because I don't need that yet. It's this one I need. And let's bring these parts in. So all we're going to do now is we're just going to start to build them up. So if I take this one away, and then all we're going to do is just show you quick and simply the ideas of these dies and stamps. You may not have seen them before. You may not have seen the everyday ones that we done a while back. So if you're new to them, it just gives you an idea as to what you can do. And if I just get this glue going, because we are on to glitter card. Now this is shedless glitter card. I still suggest to use a wet glue such as your white collal glue, or even your collal all-purpose glue, because that just means that once it's dried, it soaks into the cardstock and soaks into the glitter, and you know that it's going to be in place. So let's place that on. Then we can be taking this one. So if you've got your Xyron machines, or even if you've got the double-sided sheets, what you could be doing is you could be using these on the back. But of course, what we're just going to do is use the glue. For this one as well, these are great for shaker cards. So this is where on the back you could just cut or die cut a circle of acetate and pop it onto the back there, and then you can start to layer it up. Now you do have a fine edge, but just take your 3D foam strips and just cut them into real fine strips, work your way around, and then that will give you the ability of making a shaker card out of them too. So there we go. So let's just pop a bit of glue all the way around. We're just going round the edges here. Now, I'm not going to go right to the edges of the words to this end here. You would at home spend a bit more time. Of course, you don't have to. You can keep them free if you want, like I'm away to do. So we've got, you can have them any way you like. I'm just going to have it so it's Merry Christmas over the top as well as along the bottom. So there we go. Let's just hold that in. We're just going to press, we're just going to hold that for a second. As we hold that down with my inky hands from earlier on, taking that, and then what we're going to do is, now that that's stuck down, we could just take these extra wee bits. This is where I would bring my 3D foam pads, but my craft bag is threw it in the other room from earlier on. So let's just use our glue. Still lets you see the idea. So let's just place that into the middle there. And let's just set that on, place that in place. Then we're just going to take this last one from the Santa's head. Again, what you could be doing is put up in your 3D foam pads, your Collal 3D glue gel. What you can be doing if you're using your glue gel or your foam pads, you can add a bit of shape to it as well, give it extra height and dimension. But of course, just with the white glue, I'm just going to place him straight on like that. So there we go. So this is now finished. So if I say that, what did I say? That was 5 inches that. So that could be a 5x5 card. One of the things I get asked quite a lot is, I'm going to bring this in a bit closer while I chat. How do you do larger cards? Because I like to do 7x7 and 8x8, but I know some people are quite scared as to with it being a larger space to fill. So what I can say, and I've done this on a wee video just the other week there. So there we go. So we've got a card there. It's finished. It's quick. It's simple, but it shows you the idea of the dies. But what you can do is there's 5x5. Then if you do want to make a larger layer, which we've done earlier on, which was 6.5 inches, just cut out exactly the same layers as in coloured cardstock, but just make them bigger. So work our way around like this. So we're going to place that on, and we're going to cover up that die cut aperture that we've done in the middle. Then another wee bit here. So we're popping that all the way around. If you do create an aperture, just pop a bit of adhesive in the centre as well, just to hold it in place. And we're going to set that on. So this is another way, a quick and simple but easy way in which to create a smaller card into a larger card. So we've gone from a nice wee card which is 5 inches by 5 inches, then we've gone and we've now changed that card and made it into a 6.5. That could be a bit bigger, it could be 7x7 or it could be 8x8. Don't be scared of white spaces. I like white spaces that you can see from what I just showed you there. If I assemble this, and I'll show you a bit closer up, having white spaces, especially if you're using our Centura Pearl, you know, it can look quite effective. All you need, press that in, even if you just had a few gems at each side, maybe a wee ribbon or a bow, you don't need much at all. But then there we go, we've gone and we've created a 5x5 card into 6.5 inch by 6.5 inch, and yeah, changed it that way. So there you go. So that's the idea of the stamp and die. So you get the actual sentiment die, you actually get the stamp as well, you get a couple of the matte and layering dies, and then you also get a die that die cuts the actual stamped image from each of the stamp set.